Okay, Parshas Truma. It says in Parshas Truma, veikhuli Truma. Finally, look at how the Parshas built up to now. We had Mitzrayim, it was hard. We left Mitzrayim. We came to Har Sinai. We got the Torah. And now we're at the highest place, and now we can build the Mishkan already. We're at that place. It's a very exciting time. What else does it say in the parasha? Who knows? You know what it says? What does it say? What are we doing? What are we doing on in Parshas Truma? Okay, very good. We're giving Truma for what? What are people paying for? Why do we need money? Yeah, fair. We need for the Mishkan. We need for the kelim of the Mishkan. There's a lot that's happening over here. It's an interesting thing that it says. It says v'ikhu truma. It should say v'itnu truma. What's a v'ikhu? Sometimes, sometimes giving is also taking. It's also getting. When you give, it's like you get.
I said the word Natan.
Oh, יפה מאוד. Natan goes both ways. Yes, Natan goes both ways. Now, there's an interesting story I just heard from Amir Eliyahu. He says that on the highway, the mekubal was driving with his driver, and the mekubal said, "You see over there, there's an autoglida. How does an autoglida look? What color is an autoglida?" They could be, in my mind, it's also pink, but I've seen yellow ones also. So he says, "I want you to go fast and block him." He's like, "Rabbi, I can't block him on the highway. Block him on the highway. I want to get a can of Coke." So he does something crazy. He goes and he blocks him and he kind of slows down. And the guy comes to a full stop and he calls out, "Arav רוצה לקנות pachit." The rabbi wants to buy a can of Coke. And he said, "Crazy. You don't stop it. Don't stop me on the highway. Don't ask for a can of Coke." He says to him, no, he's willing to pay what it costs for a shishiyah. For six cans, he'll pay just for one. He says, "V'ntzip ani lo noten lachem." On the principle, I won't give it to you. And he went round and he kept on driving, and the driver got back to the car and he drove the mekubal and he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He wouldn't sell. You see, he wouldn't sell. So he said, the guy said, there's not much to do about that. They drove, and a few kilometers later, they saw that he was in a terrible accident, this autoglida, and he had flipped over, and the whole driver's area was crushed. So you can imagine that the driver didn't really make it. And so the mekubal said he needed that zchut. That can of Coke was not for me, it was for him. How many things happen in our lives that are not for us? Somebody comes and asks you for help. It's not for them, for the helpless person. It's for you. There's a story in the Gemara about the daughter of Rabbi Akiva. It's in Shabbos Kuf Mem Vav. At her wedding, she um, went to sleep in her bedroom, and imagine the walls aren't walls like this. They're walls that you can put stuff through. They're like wooden walls. They're wooden with like wooden slats. There's like space in between the walls. And so she went to sleep. When she woke up in the morning, she had the way she put her hair up is she used a sikah, a pin, a long pin with something else around it. Right? What do we call that? A bobby, like a bobby pin, but it was thick and sharp. And when she pulled it out in the morning to put it back in her hair, she saw the head of a snake. She had killed a snake by mistake the night before. It was the night of a wedding. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I killed a snake. How did this happen?" And she spoke to her father, and Rabbi Akiva said, "Wait, what did tell me about your wedding? What did you do?" She said, "Listen, I was in the Cheder Yichud, and the Cheder Yichud, they give you food and stuff. And a poor person came and he said, 'I'm starving.' So she said, take my plate. By the way, as you get married, you're fasting. Yeah. Me and mommy, we got married, we fasted. And so she came, she was fasting, and she still gave her food to the poor person to eat. And Rabbi Akiva said, tzedakah tatzil mimavet. When you do tzedakah, ze matzil mimavet. Now, tzedakah, by the way, uh, is not just netina. It's not just giving. It's not just charity. It's tzedek. It's b'lashon tzedek. This is the right thing, is to give. Mishlach manot is not tzedakah. It's a very good question. Purim is coming up, and we're going to give shalach manos. And the question is, can you give mishlach manot? There's actually no question about that. There's a question about matanas la'avyonim. Can you give it from your maisrus, from the maiser ksafim? Mishlach manos is definitely not tzedakah, and you definitely can't give from your maisrus.
It makes sense that you can.
Matanas la'avyonim, you're saying makes sense that it can.
Yeah.
You can.
Okay.
Not
Tzedakah.
mishlach manos. Right? There's two things. You give. You give food to your friend. We give to people around in the community. We give them two types of food.
Could you give food instead to the ani? Could you give him a can of food?
You can give for sure. Matanas le'avyonim, for sure you can give food. You're supposed to give food.
It doesn't have to be money.
It doesn't have to be money. No, you give a meal. You give what a meal's worth. And so it could be, you could be giving different rabbis say different things. Some say 20 shekels is already a meal because you get a falafel based on 20 shekels. Today, 20 shekels is small. So we always did like 50, 60 shekels for matanas avyonim. You're supposed to give 2 avyonim. You're supposed to give mishlach manas to one person, 2 foods, but matanas avyonim is supposed to give it to 2 avyonim. An avyon is less than an ani. An ani is a poor person. An evyon is somebody that comes knocking on the door. But he's not knocking on the door because, titrom le mada, titrom le zaka, titrom le all the different organizations. He's knocking on the door because he needs food. They say there was a brisker. The brisker is a big machmirim. And the brisker told his friends, you're going to want to hear this. Brisker told his friends, I found a perfect Evian, the perfect, really, really poor person, like really situation is pretty terrible, or the poverty that he lives in. And his friend said to him, no, tell us who it is. He said, no, I'm saving it for next year. So, yes, that's a horrible joke. In any event, matanas le'avyonim, you cannot give from maisrus because it's a chiyuv. You're chayav to give. You have to give. It's a mitzvah from. There's derabona, there's deoraisa, and there's divrei Kabbalah, which is Nevi'im, which is in the middle. This is divrei Kabbalah. This is more than just a derabona. This is almost like a deoraisa. Hearing the Megillah, matanas le'avyonim, mishlach manas is all written in the Megillah. What's your question?
That Nas and Shmuel and Meir should give their own. No?
Each person has to give his own. Each person after a mitzvah gives his own. Yeah,
What about if they don't have money?
that's a good question. If he's samuch al shulchan aviv, which those kids are, they don't really work. If they can support themselves, there are kids that make enough money they can support themselves, then they definitely do need to do mishlach matanas avyonim. If not, then there's then it's more of a question. It's kind of a in between. I always gave for the kids also. Like I gave for the kids. I said make me a shliach. That's what you're supposed to do. What's your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're still samuch al shulchan aruch. If you have pocket money, you have a little bit on the side. You have some money in a piggy bank. You're still samuch al shulchan aruch. You still need to you need your parents in order to live. you would not last. You'd be able to live a few days with that on your own, but you won't be able to pay for housing, electricity, like the basics, food. You won't be able to do that. So you're still considered samuch al shulchan aviv. Oh,
That means you pay for me as well?
Yeah.
I see. I didn't pin.
With
I didn't
warranty?
put this in the middle.
Yeah,
What?
like he gives, let's say, 30, 40 shekel from him, 40 from me, 40 from me.
Yeah. So in this parsha,
Wait, so why if you need to do I don't know your name. Somebody was so much on Aviv. He
יותר
that's
מעובדה
Maslot.
עכשיו.
what?
That's gonna be Maslot. Those will take out the avion, not avionim.
You have to give maestros and you have to give a
No, someone's so much on Aviv.
Yeah, so there is a tzad, lefi halacha that the son is pater, but because the son does get money from the father, sometimes it's not a simple question. It's not to say that he's pater. The person don't, maestros is something else. First thing, maestros is a minhag. It's a minhag. It's not chiyuv Torah. It's not chiyuv midarabanan. It's a minhag, but we follow minhagim very seriously. Yeah, you don't eat meat and then milk, right? Just after each other. It's also a minhag. You wait a few hours, right?
Oh, that's why it's 3 hours.
Or 3 hours or 6 hours. 1 hour if you're Dutch. It has to do, these are minhagim. There's a lot of things that you do that are minhag, and they're still very serious. People overseas, what happens is, if you're overseas, you do 2 days of Yom Tov, right? What's going to happen now is you have 3 days in a row. You have Pesach comes out on Thursday, right? I think Pesach comes out on Thursday, then you have Thursday, Friday, Shabbos. And then no, it's okay, you wouldn't have it in a row. Okay, but the second day of Yom Tov is also a minhag. Okay, that's the second day of Yom Tov.
How could it be midnight? It's such a serious thing.
Because minhagim are serious. No, we don't do kulas for minhagim.
מנהג זה נשמע.
חסידים נוהגים to wear gartel. עכשיו זה לא נראה כזה. So זה מבלבל.
Okay, good. Yeah, there are different levels of minhagim, right?
אז זה לא ממתי המנהג? מי עשה את המנהג? איך זה התחיל?
Yeah.
If he wears a שטריימל וזה המנהג שלהם, זה לא אומר שאתה חייב ללבוש שטריימל. זה לא באותו רמה.
So, when a person goes to collect money for whatever, for different for organizations and things like that. So think about Rabbi Akiva's daughter, right? The fact that she gave the food is what saved her life, right? Think about the Otoglida. The fact that he didn't give the rabbi a drink caused him to crash.
He was cautious. It didn't sound like he should have.
That's an interesting. It's a very interesting kind of story. It's a Kabbalist kind of story. It's not so. Rabbi Akiva's daughter's in the Gemara. Okay, so
sounds like he did something dangerous like that.
Okay, so giving tzedakah is for you. So if we have, I've collected in the past for my Kollel Erev. That's been going for 17 years. I've had this Kollel Erev. And I went and I collected and I felt terrible because people, when they collect, people don't look at you very nicely. They're always kind of wondering. They're always kind of, they don't really want to give. And they ask you a lot of questions. It's not a very nice feeling. But some people do this, and they do this in a very serious way. Where we know some people that go and collect. They make a living out of it. They take a little bit more for themselves because they're working hard. Rabbi Akiva once told me, he said it's better if you're collecting for an organization to take a salary rather than taking a percentage. Take according to what you would take for an hour. 40, 50, 60 shekels an hour. Don't take percentage. Percentage is more of a question, and a lot of people take 49%. You can't take more than, a lot of people that collect, they take 49% for themselves because the logic is more like, this organization, I'm collecting for the organization, I'm bringing in, so I can take a percentage. What's the mekubal percentage? The most is 49%. And some people take less. It really depends. And you make the deal with the tzedakah fund. So a schnorrer that's going to collect, what's the most important thing? What if you ask him? Is it the l'shem shamayim?
You should say that he's
A schnorrer wants to make sure that it's going to be more. I want it to be as much as it can be. The more, the better. לא פחות מ100. לא פחות מ1,000. הפעם בירוק. Yeah? All the same. Yeah. When you're collecting, a lot of times you're thinking about how to maximize the amount that you can get. And a lot of times, your schnorrer is wondering, why is he not giving? Does he not have to give, or does he not want to give? So the Torah says, they have to give Teruma, me'et kol ish asher yidbenu libo. Yidbenu libo. Do it from your heart. Yidbenu, Rashi uses the Lashon Nedava, Lashon Tov, and he uses this word, paishnet, which sounds like passionate. It should be a passion. Rashi's usually using, and Rashi has the Le'azeh Rashi, which is ancient French,
So as much
old
as you
French.
want, that means if you don't want a lot, you don't need to give it.
And it should come from a real place. Okay? Though I remember when I took you, I wrote down in my notes over here that I took you boys to the Mir many years ago. This must have been like 6, 7 years ago. And you learned so well in yeshiva, and then you wanted to get the sidurim from leather. And I felt like I wanted to get them for you. And I got you a siddur out of leather.
You said every day until.
Okay. So it's you want to give. You want to get to a place also that you want to give. And if you work and you make money, you want to give the 10%. The 10%, so some people might just give it to the tzedakah of the neighborhood. A lot of people give it to their kids' schools. A person doesn't have to pay for his kids' schools when they're a little older. You don't have to pay extra. So you can consider that at the school, the yeshiva is taking money, you can consider that part of maestros. A lot of poskim say this. Now, there are different stories that I collected over here about schnorring. Reb Elachai Meisel, the rabbi of Lodz, he was a wise man, and he needed to buy coats for the poor people of Lodz. Lodz is a poor city today. It's also, I go and visit there sometimes. It's poor now, and it was very poor back then. We're talking about 100 years ago. And Reb Elachai Meisel, he went to Poznansky. Poznansky was the richest guy, the richest Jew in all of Poland, pretty much. And he had a factory where they made clothes, they also made coats, and the rabbi came, he knocked on the door, and it was a very cold day. It gets really cold in Poland. It's freezing, it gets snowing. And he said to Poznansky, I want to ask you, I want to talk to you about something short. Poznansky said, come into my house. Don't stand outside. He said, no, it's just something short. Come outside, talk to me. So he stood outside and he spoke to him. And Bozansky said, listen, it's really cold here. It's really cold outside. You want me to give money to you want me to give money to get coats for these for the people of Lodge? Let's talk about this somewhere else. He said, you're cold. You're cold. Imagine what they're feeling. That's a very smart way to get him to understand how important it is. They feel the cold. You felt the cold that they're feeling. You have a nice warm house. They're outside. They don't have that. There was a great money collector, the Ponevezh Rav, Rabbi Yosef Shlomo Kahaneman. The Ponevezh Rav, he started the yeshivas Ponevezh in Bnei Brak. He also came to visit our great-grandmother in Cape Town, Baba Chanareba. She knew him from Ponevezh, and then he came and when he went to collect money in Cape Town, he collected from her also. He collected everywhere in the whole world. He went all around the world to collect money for Ponevezh. They say one of the proofs that there is no life on the moon is that if there was life on the moon, Yosef Chaim Shlomo, Rabbi Yosef Chaim Shlomo Kahneman would go there to collect. Another proof is, how do we know there is none? There's no life there because every house has a Shmiras Shabbos Kirchasa. And if there was life on the moon, they would also have a Shmiras Shabbos Kirchasa. That was not as good as the first one. If there was life over there, they would also have Coke. At any event, the Ponevezh Rav, he once wanted to collect. He went to a very rich man in America, and he said, "I want to collect." And he had a few things he collected for. He collected for different schools. He collected for different yeshivas, and this rich man was not for Jews. He was anti-from. He wasn't for Jewish lifestyle. He was very much against religious people. He said, "You want me to give money? I want you to give money to a school where the kids don't have kippahs and they don't have payas. I want you to give money to that school." He said, "Great, donate to the school, to this school." And he got $1 million for Beit Yaakov Bnei Brak. No kippahs. It's a girls' school. No kippahs, no payas either.
No.
He once went to another rich guy that was also not very from people, that didn't like religious people. And he came to his house. They told him, "Don't go to this rich guy's house. He's not going to give you a penny. This guy has a ton of money, but he never gives anything from people." So the Shapanovish said, "Fine, I'm going to go see him. I'm going to meet with him. I'm going to see how this goes." He sat down with him in his lounge, and the rich man said, "Okay, what can I do for you?" So he said, "Oh, that's a nice picture. Who's in that picture?" He said, "Oh, that's my father." It's like, "Oh, such a beautiful portrait. It would look beautiful in our new library." He's like, "Really? I'd be honored if you take the portrait, put it in the library for sure. For my father." "How big is your library? How many books do you have there?" So he's like, "Oh, yeah, we haven't built it yet, and we don't have books yet. We're collecting for that. And this is going to be the first thing inside. And now, how much money are you willing to give?" Right? It's manipulations for good things.
The thing is, by Am Yisrael, Hashem said, "Vayikchuli Teruma," they ran, they gave money. They didn't have to beg or anything. They were happy to give.
Yeah, they're passionate, right? They were passionate. There's another question from another hand. When people come to you and they ask you for money, who do you give money to? Do you know how many times I get approached every day at the kotel, outside the kotel, outside Kever Rachel, outside Bameiron, Kever Rashbi?
with shkalim and
You just give a shekel to everybody. You know, they did studies in the Kotel, and 90% are frauds. 90% are collecting for their kids to have a second apartment. They don't need the money.
twice.
There was a guy,
In
right?
what?
Mayor was with me, and a guy came to me. He came the first time, and I brushed him off. I can't have so many people approaching me so much. I kind of zone them out. I can't,
So you go
I
to
screen them out.
times.
Yes, I see them all the time.
Getting months.
It's better.
No, what I tell them, I recognize them. They're the same people. The same people been by the Kotel for
You're probably-
15 years. I know them 15 years. They just stand, they're collecting all the time for the same things. My daughter needs to get married. Or it sounds like the same thing. Yes. So
Maybe she does.
yeah.
No, maybe she does.
That
But that doesn't mean
children
that doesn't mean she's
She needs to get married. He's already buying her a second apartment,
Oh,
but she still needs to get married. So I
she's
tell
zibuk.
I tell these guys, I say to them, we know each other already. אנחנו מכירים. And they're like, oh, already? And they go away right away. Well, I tell them, don't you recognize me? They're like, oh, sorry. So I was actually with Meir. We were in the Merkaz, and a guy came and he said, "Ani tzarich tzedakah." And to me, it looked like a guy that was really, he looked very, very much never. He didn't look like somebody. I feel like I can tell a little bit. I know these guys very closely. I feel like yeah, he's young. He's young. He could work, but it looked like he needed the basics. I was once with Nassim Tzvi in the hospital, and
the person like that and buying food.
yeah, so
You give him
if somebody asks you for food, you need to give. I went with Nassim Tzvi, we were in the hospital, and we went to the burger place, the burger place in Shaarei Tzedek, and a guy came over and he said, "Can you please buy me a meal?" And I said, "Sure." And I bought him a meal.
I think the most expensive one.
I said, "Order and I'll pay." Because they ask you for food, it says you have to give. They ask you for food.
Yeah, you're the most expensive one. Plus,
If they ask for food, you need to give. And people don't just ask. The people that,
צריך? לא
oh,
צריך להביא להם רק פת לחם? רק לחמניה?
very good. Shmuel
Yeah.
says you don't have to order. You don't have to order the most expensive thing. You order just, yeah. You
order
just,
the most
and
calorie dense meal. It doesn't need to be more expensive. So you get the most out of it.
I'll tell you, for food, to give somebody food, that he's hungry, he's going to sit, he's going to eat there. I know my money's not going to waste. It's not going just so he buys his kid another apartment.
Or cigarette.
I had
Or
to
cigarettes,
use
or
money. He was smoking. One of the kids were with me, and I told him no. Mayor was with me. I said no. And Mayor stared at me like, "What do you mean no?" I said, "If he wants, I'll buy him a falafel."
did you told him yet?
What?
I kept on insisting. I said, "Look,
No,
Oh.
I told him, let's buy him a falafel. He didn't want.
The Gemara says that really you should have to give everybody tzedakah. You should have to give everybody,
Yeah.
and you should. Okay, I'm Purim Kol Hapa, anybody that opens their hand, you have to give them. You don't have to give little 5-year-olds and teach them to do this. You know,
מה זה קורה?
yes, go outside the mirror. Where do you,
They say, make poems.
it's something by like the Yerushalmas. The Yerushalmas, they say there was a Yerushalma that came with his child to the Gemach. A lot of there's certain people that don't have money. They go to the Gemach. They take a big loan, 10,000 shekels. They go with this loan and they cover the loan from another Gemach. So they megalgelim chovot. Umegalgel mipo l'sham. He takes money from there to cover over there. He goes to a third Gemach, and he's just circulating the money he doesn't have. And that's terrible to live like that. And so once there was a guy at the Gemach, a Chalman with his child, and asked him, "Why did you bring your child here?" So he said, it says in the Gemara, "Chayav adam lelamed et bno omanut." A person has to teach his kid how to work. So it's a joke. They say this joke, but it's 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 a difficult situation. I don't want to support that kind of mentality, that kind of culture. And so when I'm approached by little kids, I don't want to give them money or to teach them to be like that, to put out their hand, to ask.
No,
What?
but then they won't
For
work.
Purim, it's different. Maybe for Purim, it's different. Yeah, they are for Hanukkah also. Dmei Hanukkah. By the way, Kol HaPoshet Yad Notnim Lo, you should know this, for Purim, if you learn Torah, if you daven, whatever you ask for, it's open. The Sharei Shamayim are open. And for Torah, there are a lot of kollelin that'll pay you 200 shekels for an hour to learn on Purim. But that's more for a little bit of a different reason.
Purim.
That's more for a different reason. The reason over there is that it's a time that people usually don't learn. And so somebody needs to hold up the world. If we stop learning Torah, if there's no Torah in the world will cease to exist. You have to have Torah learning all the time. In Yerushalayim, next to the Kotel, there's a shul called Oel Yitzchak. And Rabbi Chaim Sonnenfeld built that shul. He called it Kolel Shomrei HaChomot. They shomrei the Chomot shel Kol HaOlam. They protect the walls of the whole world. And they learn 24/7. There's always somebody learning. There's never a time where there's not a person learning over there. That's how it was till 1948, till the shul was destroyed by the Jordanians. But we still have this today. Yeah. Today, they say they're people in Israel. They're people that live in England, in London. They're people that learn Torah all the time. They're people that learn in America.
In Australia.
And so you have people all over the world that are learning now. Jews are spread all over the world, so you always have people learning. So yeah, so you always have people learning. So you don't really need okay, I'm gonna add another interesting anecdote over here. We learn in the Parsha about different kilim of the Mishkan. We learn about the Aron Habrit, the Ark of the Covenant, how it's built, and that there's gold on the inside and gold on the outside. And we learn about the Mizbeach HaPnimi, Mizbeach HaChitzon, Mizbeach of the Karbonos, Mizbeach of the Ktoret. We learn about the menorah. And the menorah it says, Fi'im, Kaftorim, Uprachim. They also have, if you see how the menorah looks, it has 3 cups. This is what Chazal say. It's 3 cups, one inside the other. Then there's like a button, a big round thing, like a button, and then you have like a flower thing on top. Gviim v'kaftorim. But you have 3 gviim, right? That's an interesting thing. You have the kilim. You need to have, the kli shows that you have 3 times as much of what you need on top for the oil. Because the idea is you always want to widen your kli, widen your ability to get the shefa. There's an interesting thought in therapy. Carl Jung says, you cannot fix most of your problems. Most problems you'll never fix. Things that you're suffering with, you go to therapy, you're not going to be able to fix them. But you will be able to grow beyond them. You have something that's bothering you. To fix, it's going to keep on bothering you. Yeah? A person is ADHD. His mind goes in different ways. He wants to go to therapy to learn how to focus it in. He keeps on getting, when he gets distracted, he gets angry with himself and frustrated. And sometimes that anger you can't really fix by working with the anger. What you can do is get more inner space. You can grow to a place where those things don't bother you as much. I was just at this retreat, and I brought up something over there in my talk that bothered me 5 years ago. And then after I was talking to somebody with that, I said, you know what? It doesn't bother me that much anymore. It's 5 years ago it bothered me a lot. Now it doesn't bother me that much. You grow beyond it. A lot of issues that we have, they get solved over a period of work because you expand your kli, you expand your ability to accept, to get more light inside it. Have you heard of Shvirat HaKelim? Before the world was created, Hashem created kelim, and he put light inside them, but he put too much light inside the kelim, so they broke. And the pieces of the kelim fell down into the world, into the creation that came afterwards. The pieces fell down. And what we're doing in this world is we're actually trying to pick up the pieces, the nitzotzot, from those kelim, and try and putting them together. There are 248 Reish Pechet nitzotzot, and they were all in Egypt, and that's when we had to go down to Egypt and take them out. Reish Pechet, 288, right? Reish Pechet. Okay, so if it's hard for you to hear things, if it's hard for you to, certain things are hard for you, certain behaviors are hard for you, you would like to be more serious about your life, you would like to change things, it has to do more with growing. If you can grow your kli, then you can put more inside it. If you feel like life is difficult and you're stretched to the end, you can grow beyond that. And if you grow beyond that, then it won't stretch you as much. Similar to a kid wants to run 100 meters in, I don't know, 20 seconds. It's hard for a little kid to do that. But if the more he grows, the easier it'll be for him.
What if you want to bench press? The more you grow, the easier
Right.
it will be.
Bench press also. You want to bench press 100 kilos. So you work to expand your muscles so that you can hold more weight. And so you also want to expand your mind, expand your tolerance, expand yourself so that you're a greater person, so you can deal with what's going around you. We can now kind of tie things down. I'll just tell you more or less what I spoke about, and we'll finish this shiur. We spoke about Teruma, about Tzedakah, about giving, different halachas of Tzedakah. We spoke about Rabbi Akiva's daughter. We spoke about the beggars at the kotel. We spoke about rabbis collecting money, the Ponevezher Rav, and different interesting stories over there. And we learned from this to be givers, to give more. And giving is tzedakah, which is tzedek, which is the right thing. Right? We're not like Sdom, which is sheli, sheli, shelcha, shelcha. That's not tzedek. Tzedek is to be like Avram Avinu, which gives. Mine is also yours. Just the fact that God gave me more money and you less does not mean anything. I need to give. And we need to choose to be givers.
Oh, no, I mean choose to be able to choose to have money.
Choose to have money in order to give. It's also a good choice.
Lazy, and that's what they, or they have problems of physical. There
are a lot of people that work that are serious and they still don't have money. And then you have somebody else that works and he does have money. And you want to share the good. You want to be a giver. That's the right thing. We should be zocher to that.